So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at Waterloo 1815. This is Fallen Eagles 2 from a company called Hexasim. I don't want to pretend to pronounce this gentleman's name. It's Valer Vidovsky. Maybe. I'm very sorry. But I've been recently looking for a Waterloo game because I saw a couple, online or in person at different places, and I was like, I don't have a Waterloo game. And, there's a lot of them out there, and so I put out some feelers because some of them are so big and so complex, and I wanted it to be playable, and generally speaking, and there were a couple of suggestions, but this was one of them, and this was both available, and also it looked like it would be pretty approachable from a play standpoint. So this is what I went with. So this is a two-player Hex Encounter Napoleonics game, and it covers the Battle of Waterloo, but you also have smaller scenarios within that battle, and they have separate little map cards, which I really appreciate. That makes it easy to just kind of set up and play around with without having to get out a whole big thing and just play on a tiny portion of the map, which is fine, but I really like the little map cards because those are a bit more portable. So you can kind of set those up and kind of squeeze them wherever you want. So the complexity, from what I can tell, is 4 or 5 out of 9, and the solitaire suitability is a 7 out of 9. So I'm not sure there's a lot of hidden information in this one, but comes in this fairly normal box. I think it's a little bit longer and taller and thinner than a. So, European and US paper sizes are slightly different, so this is a little bit of a thinner box. You can see it's got half an inch off the side of it, but it's also half an inch taller. So I believe this is A4 sized paper in here, if my memory serves me correctly. So let's have a look what we got. There's a very small little deck of cards in a bag, and 2 of these cards are strategic cards, and they're going to do like stop the rain or start the rain, basically, based on whatever weather it is that time of day or turn. And the rest of these are tactical cards. Whoops, let's throw those around. Tactical cards have a nice little historical picture on them, and they have text on what they do. And they have some different notes on the bottoms of like the number that the tactical card is, or a designation, but I'm not really sure what those are, but there's a very small little deck of cards. This isn't a CDG in any meaningful way. Here, let's get everything out, because it's quite a tight fit in the box. You do get 2 little white D6. We will probably replace those with color-appropriate ones. It's just, as is my wont. Here we have the series rules, and this is from the October 2022 version 2.3. So I think, oh gosh, the original iteration of this game is quite old, and it's been revamped, as has a lot of the series with all these in it, and this is the latest edition of the series rules. So in here we have the rules for like what the counters look like, and the leaders, general sequence of play, stacking limitations, zones of control, how to issue orders, movement, combat, all the things that you would expect melee combat. And I think there's like cavalry charges and advanced stuff. But generally speaking, that's everything there. A couple different special rules and lots of examples here as well, which is nice. But this is the rules that's going to serve you in all 4 of these games. So there's Waterloo, Austerlitz, Ligny, and Quatre Bras. So, and that was one of the kind of stipulations. When I was looking for a Napoleonic series, I wanted it to be not super mega complex, but also like be pretty recent, just because I prefer the presentation, I prefer a cleaner rule set, so I'm pretty excited for that. Now we have the playbook, and the playbook has in it like the two like specific rules for this, and then we are immediately into the different scenarios. And it has your order of battles, your setup, time constraints, special rules. So, and there's scenario 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I believe scenario 4 is like the whole battle basically. And then everything else is kind of like history on the cards and explanations of what they do and examples of play. So really, like, these rules are basically the same for all the battles. There was such a minor amount of actual specific rules for this particular game. So if you, all the rules, about 23, 24 pages, plus like 2 bullet points in here, and that's pretty much it. So, got some meat to it, but also not overwhelming. Is kind of what I was looking for, and it's kind of why I'm excited for this particular title. Little play aid that goes over the different nationalities that are included in the box, and a little chart of like what the different numbers mean on which different types of units. There is a terrain effects chart on the back of this as well. We'll probably end up keeping it this way up when we've got it on the table. And we have 2 identical play aid cards, one for each player. This has our melee table, and it has all our dice roll modifiers, etc. But on the back side we have our fire table for shooting and our random special events as well. So, the counters come in this like sealed pack. There's 4 sheets. We'll take a look at those here in just a second. So we have 2 of these, and these are single-sided. 2 of these are order sheets. And I have read the rules, but usually when you have an order sheet, especially with these, this is where you're going to designate who's going where and what they're trying to do. This may also list victory point hexes, just so that you can, at a glance, get a better gauge of what you need to get going on. But I think you're going to put orders out to like send people to go in this direction, or to go and assault this place, I believe. So, this is the scenario on map card, and this is what I was talking about with the little separate maps. So, if you want to just learn scenario 1, dig out all these guys, and you're going to stack them all on this road, and you're going to stack the British up here, and you're going to do a little fight. It's only in this little segment, and that's it. And it's 3 turns, I believe. So, this is the kind of thing that I'm like, something like Silver Bayonet has this. I can just grab these units, a couple dice, the rules, and this, and I can take that with me somewhere, and like play it on a lunch break. And it's a really convenient way of doing it. Instead of getting out all this stuff and just like playing on this tiny little triangle and trying to remember, oh, I went 1 hex too far out here because this is not a regular line. It includes these extra ones here. I don't know. It's just much more convenient to have these little map cards, so I really appreciate Hexasim going that extra mile and giving us this. The back of this is part of the grand Mont Saint Jean Order of Battle. There's all the Frenches on the back. Here is this is the coalition. So we've got British and Prussians, I believe, for the Mont Saint Jean. So all of these go together. This is like big stuff for the main. This is the order of battle for scenario 2. This is the order of battle for scenario 3. And on the back we have more for the what do I do with it now? Here we go. So it's all of this is for the big campaign, right? So the game can be as big as you want it to be, or as small as you want it to be. Then we also have a turn track, and this is dual-sided. We've got a terrain effects chart on the back, just in case you wanted to ruin your turn chart, but you've got one. One thing I do appreciate about this is that there is like a colorized pictorial illustration of how long the scenarios are. So scenario 1 is this blue, and it's these 3 turns. Scenario 2 is this dark blue. It overlaps 1 turn with scenario 1, but it goes 4 turns. Scenario 3 are these 4 green turns, and then scenario 4 is the whole campaign. It's everything. So a nice little illustrative diagram of that just helps to like make that setup a little bit easier of like, okay, how many turns do we got to mark out? When do they start? Especially for these ones where it's in, like in the middle of a turn track. You can just like, it's very easy to pass basically. Here we have our scenario 3 setup. We have our scenario 2 setup. And we have our scenario 4, the grand campaign, setup. So this is a pictorial setup of like, whenever we had all those units and those orders of battle, well, this is where the 6-11 formation, this is where the 9, or the 6-2 formation, 9-2, 5-2 formation, 2C second formation, those are the hexes in which they can set up, basically. So this is more pictorial setup diagrams. But we have, once again, the separate map cards for scenarios 2 and 3. So scenario 2 is just this. We had a lot of units on it, but it is just this. Scenario 3, on the other hand, is just this. So they're bigger than scenario 1, obviously, but again, it's just so convenient to just like put this out. This is what we're playing on. Here's my stack of units. Let's get going. Then having to get out the big maps, which we'll look at here, and be like, remember where the borders are, and we can't go past this one? Yeah. If I can avoid that, I prefer to, and I like games where they provide those little map cards. So here's the first map. And I think let's take a moment to appreciate how nice these maps are, because this is some of the best maps for a long time. I really, really like a lot of Napoleonic maps because they often have a style to them. It's rare that you get like the very functional looking maps. You always get extra level of artwork in them, I swear. And for reference, let's have a kind of a close-up. Look at the buildings. Here we go. In the town. Those are hand-drawn, or at least made to look like they're hand-drawn. All different. It just looks so nice. The detail on the fields and the terrains. Just to add some extra flair to it without being distracting. It's all this green. It's going to show up your blue and red units real nice, that's for sure. Here's the other map, and they're going to overlap this way. And I will once again say, hey, look. So this is this lovely big map. But again, if you want to play just scenario 3, it's just this. So you don't have to get out the 2 maps that's going to take up your whole table. Just this. I cannot tell you how much of a difference that makes. If you've never played in a game with little map cards for the smaller scenarios, it's wildly convenient. So the last thing that we're going to take a look at here, I'm just going to open up the shrink wrap on these counters, and we're going to get going with them. I keep buying these old games and never getting to them, so or it takes me ages. But I don't know. I'm very excited for this one, and I hope that I can kind of get this going a bit quicker. So, here's the first sheet of counters, and I just really like the quality of these. I really do. I just think they're really, really nice. And on the back of them, they have like a disordered side or a reduced side on them. But even the little, the route marker, once it's punched, it'll look a little different. It has like a full painting on it. Look at this thing. Like, come on, man. That's awesome. That is an awesome counter. And there's a bunch of them on this sheet too. So this one has some more admin markers. These are the orders that we're giving to our different colored formations. I've got some French units up here. These little flags are control markers, potentially. Not really sure. Well, those might be rallying points or command HQs. Activation markers at the bottom of this sheet. A lot more French units. And even the paintings, the portraits of the leaders, 10 out of 10. You could have cheaped out on that and just put like a flag on them or done something else, but going that extra mile. And I feel like with what's often like the pomp and circumstance of Napoleonics games and the Napoleonics era, that is often reflected in Napoleonics games, and they're some of my favorite looking because they all have these like, they have this great pomp to them. They look great because it wasn't enough to just win a battle. If you could win it in style and panache, with elan, all the better, basically. But that's everything that comes in Waterloo 1815 Fallen Eagles 2. I'm not sure when this is going to get played. I would like to play this soon. I'm probably going to piddle around solo with some of those smaller scenarios to teach myself the system so that we can play this at some point. But I'm very excited to both have a good, solid Waterloo game and for it to be not like an absolute monster. I'd like to be able to see if this can be played in a shorter time than the actual battle took, which many Waterloo games cannot be. So I appreciate you tuning in and taking a look through Waterloo 1815 with me, but I've been Alexander from playersaid.com.